Get off the game and go outside. I'm sure we've all heard this line at least one time in our life. Or maybe something along the lines of, those games are never going to help you in the real world. According to an article by the Pew Research Center, about one quarter of all adults, roughly 26%, think most games are a waste of time. Video games have been a divisive topic in America since the early 80s, and the stigma against gaming has carried on ever since. However, this opinion shared by the quarter of the adult population is flawed and fails to consider the benefits presented in modern gaming. Video games are not a detriment. Rather, they are very effective in enhancing problem-solving skills. They reward cooperation as well as rewarding perseverance. To start things off, let's address some concerns with gaming. Regarding the negative connotation that gaming receives, one reason for such negative connotation is the idea that violent games tend to lead to violent actions from those who play them. Franchises like Mortal Kombat, Call of Duty, and Doom are popular examples of games that are often scrutinized for their use of excessive violence. In fact, research done by Vox indicates with its 1992 debut in arcades, Mortal Kombat caused such mass hysteria among adults that by 1993, there was a congressional meeting which resulted in the creation of the Entertainment Software Rating Board. And the fighting game causes debates with every subsequent release. Another reason for the hate that gaming receives would be how addictive games can really be. There have been a fair share of incidents with gaming and how addictive it can be should you not take precautions to limit the amount of time you spend playing them. An infamous example being the incident in World of Warcraft, where a 26-year-old man by the name of Zhang grew addicted to the point he accumulated over 300 pounds of fat and grew incredibly unhealthy, and unfortunately lost his life during a 7-day binge of World of Warcraft. And while all of these are justifiable reasons to be wary of video games, they aren't reasons to be dismissive of gaming as a whole. Even though violence in video games is such a heated debate within the political and social scene, scientifically speaking, the argument is rather close-cased. In a study done by Dr. Agni Squeeze-DeLay, which was reported on by Science Daily, using econometric methods that identify plausibly causal effects of violent video games on violence rather than only associations, she found no evidence that violence against other people increased after a new violent video game is released. She specifically stated, taken together, these results suggest that violent video games may agitate children, but this agitation does not translate into violence against other people, which is the type of violence we care most about. Moreover, in another study done by Aaron Drummond from New Zealand's Massey University, he re-examined the link between aggressive behavior and video gaming and found that the study showed a minuscule positive correlation between gaming and aggression, proving that scientifically speaking, research into the link between violent video game and aggression are yielding very little results, nothing that can be considered meaningful in the long term. However, regarding how addictive games can be, there is a level of truth to this sentiment. Games are made to be addictive, with the express purpose of marketing and ensuring sales. In turn, sometimes the product can become too addicting. Prime examples being Flappy Bird. The scandal in 2014 resulted in the game being pulled from the App Store. And while this stance is logical in theory, to villainize gaming for this and no other medium is frankly unfair. Television, books, and music are all examples of entertainment that can be violent and addicting. Yet because they are socially accepted forms of entertainment, this aspect is tolerated. Following up on this point, there are violent books and television shows that people allow their children to watch, such as Power, Handmaid's Tale, and Squid Games. Squid Games in particular racking up an astonishing 100 million views on Netflix. Yet video games are seen as just too far. The opposition posed against gaming culture is not only unfounded and highly opinionated, but it also fails to realize the many benefits that gaming can provide for people of all ages. A benefit of gaming that often goes overlooked is how much perseverance goes into becoming better at the game. Anyone who's gamed knows how hard it is to grind out experience and the level of dedication it takes to reach the pinnacle of performance in any genre of gaming. Spending hours meticulously analyzing a boss's attack patterns to learn how to exploit their weak points are the bare minimum for challenging titles like Dark Souls. Moreover, games tend to accumulate difficulty with success, so there's never really a feeling of stagnation in skill or effort. And while we're on the topic of complex solutions, the level of problem solving required to complete your average game is not to be scoffed at. Platformers like Uncharted, Mario, and Tomb Raider are iconic examples of platformers that require both precise timing and planning for the levels to be completed optimally. Furthermore, with the increase in popularity with speedrunning, people can view the creative methods individual players come up with to surpass each other and cement themselves on the leaderboards. The great part about this is there has been proven correlations between students who play these kind of games and how they apply these strategies to real-world scenarios. In a study addressed within the Journal of Youth and Adolescence, they used the game Splinter Cell as an example, but the idea remains the same. They state that in Splinter Cell, the player often must remain hidden by moving slowly and carefully in the shadows and creating diversions to distract enemies. For example, when approaching enemies, the player must study the scene, gather information about how the enemies move, and formulate a plan regarding when and how to attack without being detected. Such a strategy often involves waiting to attack once the enemy has moved to a remote location, then hiding the enemy's body in the shadows. Considering that this form of problem is repeated at every level of the game, sustained playing over time may increase the player's problem-solving skills. Cooperation is the final aspect of gaming that solidifies its utility. Now more than ever, people are more divided, and gaming allows a gateway for people of all ages and cultural backgrounds to work together to achieve a common goal. I speak from personal experience when I say that friendships formed through gaming can last for decades. The reason why cooperation is so heavily important in video games like League of Legends, Overwatch, and Team Fortress is because without one teammate, you aren't going to win the game 8 out of 10 times. Having a full team of players that have each other's backs, communicate with one another, and keep the energy positive and fun guarantees that a less organized team has zero chance of winning. League specifically is the harshest when it comes to cooperation. If you don't cooperate with your team, you risk being banned indefinitely. This forces even the most toxic of players to suck up whatever pride they have and fight with their team to secure the victory. With that, I feel there's little more to be said regarding the utility of gaming for people of all ages. Gaming has great parallels to our everyday life and teaches people that in order to succeed in your endeavors, you will require great perseverance, problem-solving skills, and be open to cooperation, all while making it enjoyable and a unique experience for all.